What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the off-season physique update from Urs Kalecinski. So he decided not to compete at this year's Arnold and focused on utilizing all this time, the entire year, to make some major improvements in his physique overall, especially in his back and his biceps, so that he can be a major contender to win that classic physique Olympia title this year. Now, if you take a look at Urs's face, you would say that the man looks kind of fat, and that too for the very first time since he turned pro. But in reality, there are some athletes like Urs and Ramon who always stay in amazing shape no matter how hard they go during that bulking mode during the off season. Now, everyone out there have their own definition on what classic physique is. What is the standard? But if there is one thing on which all of us can agree, especially the classic physique fans, is that Urs probably is quote-unquote one of the most classic looking guy in that Olympia top 5. And after what he was able to achieve at the Olympia last year, there is no longer any doubts on his ability to make some improvements every single year. And that too in his lagging body parts. The thing is, none of us expected that Urs will come back with such kind of improvements in his back, an area which has been the biggest weakness for him throughout his career. And the reason for that was he literally had no room to get bigger, to grow, because of that weight cap. And especially after what happened at the Arnold last year, where he lost to Wesley, Ramon, but also Brion, and the man struggled so hard to make that weight cut off. But he shocked almost everyone at the Olympia last year. But that being said, he still doesn't have those wide clavicles. For instance, if we compare him to a guy like Mike Sommerfeld, and he doesn't have the muscle maturity or the same density as Mike. But this year will bring about the biggest change in Urs's physique that we have ever seen to date. So last year he was top 3. So do you guys see him winning the Olympia this year? So Hostile just dropped some Sherpa lined zip-up hoodies and forced hooded jackets. So do check him out and use the code Fazi10 to get 10% extra discount. Regan Grimes' former trainer and coach, Milo Sorcer, once said that Regan is unbelievably strong when it comes to moving the weight in the gym, especially in the back workouts. But at the same time, he also said he isn't willing to give 100% in the gym every single day in and day out. So this is a totally different Regan Grimes we are looking at right now. He has a winning mindset this year, and that back is looking crazy good for 9 weeks out of his comeback show, which is most probably gonna be the New York Pro. And the reason I'm saying this is a comeback show is because this is gonna be his first show since the Olympia 2023. Now that is a long way away from the stage and the bodybuilding world that will be looking to see a bigger version of Regan to step on the stage this time around. The thing is, he cannot get that same feedback this time too, over and over again, that he needs more size to compete with the top guys of the men's open. So stepping in the ring with the best of the best, that is a great move. But Regan here is probably making the right move by skipping Pittsburgh Pro and doing the New York Pro instead. Because as of right now, Nick Walker haven't committed to doing this upcoming New York Pro, and the chances of Martin doing that, they are also looking kind of slim. And the thing is, Regan have never beaten these guys before. So the biggest mistake that Regan Grimes made throughout his career was wasting that 1 year doing classic physique. Especially after he traveled to the O2 gyms Kuwait and he blew up to 300 pounds. And that too in no time. Competing in classic did not benefit him at all, or his physique in any way possible. And just looking at his career, these past 3 years, he has taken 2 out of those 3 years totally off, not competing at all. And the reason was to get bigger, to grow, to put on more muscle. So the man is coming for this year's New York Pro to win that title and punch his Olympia ticket. So can Regan be in the top 6 at the Olympia this year? Next up, we have the off-season physique update from Christian Zagarella. Now that is a qualified Olympian in the 212 class that we should all be looking forward to seeing on the stage in October this year. Because after the champ, Keon Pearson, that is probably one of the most beautiful physique in the 212 division right now. And the judges not only gave him a fair look at the Olympia last year, they gave him a top 6 spot in the world on his first try at his Olympia debut. And that is amazing for a guy who was continuously getting beat by a physique like Ahmed Ashkenani just 1 year ago. Now Christian Zagarella has all the tools to move up those Olympia ranks and maybe fight for that Miss Olympia title. His only downside, that is his height. As a tall guy, there is only a certain amount of muscle mass that he can put on before he maxes out in that division. And considering the fact that he's a former classic physique competitor, he only has a few years to grow into this class before he might consider switching to the men's open bodybuilding, because that is the only move. So this certainly is one hell of a transformation from classic to the 212. And Zagarella has top tier bodybuilding aesthetics, especially from the front. Talk about having the ideal muscle insertions for the quads. And Christian has them all. But far ahead is the champ Keon Pearson, and that can be seen in this comparison video from Olympia 2024, when Christian had a chance to stand next to Keon Pearson, and Keon absolutely smoked them all. So Florian Porra's comeback in the men's open bodybuilding at this upcoming California Pro, that is also gonna be one of the most anticipated stories of this summer. And the man looks absolutely mind-blowing for 10 weeks out. Stellar conditioning, superb size. The quads are the best muscle group on his physique. In fact, he's gonna have to build up the arms and delts to have a much better balance, top to bottom. But considering the fact that how great he looked 6 years ago at his pro debut in Portugal, and the man pushed his weight to the heaviest ever in this past off-season. And the thing is, that was expected, because Florian was forcefully stopping his body from growing, from getting bigger, by staying in classic physique and by staying in calorie deficit. Now throughout those years in classic, Florian was trying to stay relatively close to his weight cutoff, making sure he stayed somewhat close and that he did not grow too much in the off-season. Because the thing is, classic just wasn't meant for him, but he did pursue that for a number of years. But now that he's back to the division where he belongs, Florian is gonna be very comparable from the front. And from the side, he has very good symmetry, amazing balance. Now his placings are all gonna come down to how his back looks, because the back was his biggest weakness when he made his pro debut. So California Pro, that is probably gonna have a superb lineup, because you would expect that most of these guys from Pittsburgh Pro and the New York Pro, they are gonna be competing in Cali as well, as all these shows, they are just 1 week apart. So this is one of those rare times when you're gonna see Michael Krizo do a front relaxed pose. The thing is, Krizo never had the best symmetry to begin with, but a guy who is returning after a shoulder surgery, and that was a major injury, and still has 8 more weeks to go to fine-tune things, to sharpen up. He's looking very decent in this update, in this pose. But the other one, where Krizo hits that trademark kind of most muscular shot, showcasing the monstrous size of his delts and arms, that's just cartoonish. So he is well on his way to present one of the most shredded physique that we have ever seen from Krizo before. Now we all know, he just isn't gonna be among those guys with the most eye-pleasing physique on the stage. He's a freak of nature, and his strength, that is sheer muscle mass and that crazy freak factor. And with good enough condition, maybe he can challenge the top guys. Now maybe he has been unable to translate that a few days outlook on the stage, where he's big and grainy and also full as a house. And maybe George Farah, he's gonna help him unlock all that potential. So did Krizo actually wanted to do this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro? Or did his sponsors wanted him to do that? Well, I think he will have a much better chance winning a show like the New York Pro, or maybe Italy, which is scheduled in June. But we know Krizo loves to compete. He stays on a very strict diet all year round. So staying on a very long contest prep, that just isn't a difficult task for a guy like Krizo. So could Michael Krizo at his best place top 7 or top 8 at the Olympia this year? Well, at his best, he can beat a guy like William Bonac, who was 7th last year. Now I am really looking forward to his battle with a guy like Regan Grimes at this upcoming New York Pro, since both these guys are confirmed for that show. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.